Commander Lane studied the blinking tactical display with mounting frustration. The human outpost shouldn't have presented any resistance, especially not against the Galactic Council's most decorated special operations team. Yet there they were, trapped outside a simple mining facility on an unremarkable moon, pinned down by defenses operated by a single human. "Status report," Lane demanded, mandibles clicking in agitation. Lieutenant Voss looked up from his scanner. "Still no breach, sir. The human has somehow reconfigured the mining facility's automated systems into a defense grid. Our attempts to bypass it have been unsuccessful." That was putting it mildly. 3 squad members were already injured, and they hadn't even made it through the outer perimeter. "This is absurd," Lane hissed. "We're the 87th Tactical Unit. We've overthrown governments. How can one human engineer be causing this much trouble?" The communications officer's antennae twitched. "Commander, the human is broadcasting again." A scratchy voice filled their command center, the translation software struggling to keep up with the human's casual tone and peculiar idioms. "Hey there, Bugs. Just checking in to see if you're ready to call it quits. No shame in it." "Well, maybe a little shame," Lane growled. "Patch me through." The comm officer complied, and Lane spoke with all the authority his position commanded. "Hugh and Morgan, this is Commander Lane of the Galactic Council Enforcement Division. Your resistance is futile and illegal. Surrender the facility immediately." A laugh came through the speakers. "Futile, huh? Seems like I'm doing pretty well so far. And as for illegal, you folks showed up at my doorstep with plasma rifles. Didn't even knock. That's just rude. The Council has declared this moon a protected resource. Your mining operation violates." Yeah, protected after we found platinum deposits. Convenient timing. "Look, I've got 2 years left on my contract, and Union Minerals has all the proper permits filed with your own bureaucracy. This is corporate politics dressed up as law enforcement, and we both know it." Lane's compound eyes narrowed. "Your situation is hopeless. We have you surrounded. And I have proximity mines surrounding you. Checkmate, I think you call it." As if to emphasize the point, a small explosion rattled the command ship. "Just a little demonstration," Morgan's voice continued. "Don't worry, that one was set to minimum yield, the others aren't." Lieutenant Voss approached cautiously. "Sir, our scans confirm an extensive network of improvised explosives. The human has essentially turned the entire perimeter into a death trap." Lane clicked his mandibles in frustration. How? This facility was scheduled to be manned by at least 20 humans. All intelligence indicated. "Budget cuts," Morgan interrupted, still listening in. "Company sent everyone else home 3 months ago. Left me to maintain operations until contract completion. Lots of free time on my hands. You'd be amazed what you can learn from technical manuals when you're bored." The tactical officer approached with a datapad. "Sir, we've analyzed the humans' defense systems. They've repurposed mining drones, maintenance robots, and even the facility's waste disposal units into a coordinated security network. It's ingenious, actually." Lane snatched the datapad. The schematics displayed a patchwork system that should never have functioned, let alone posed a threat to elite forces. But it was working, and working well. "Your resourcefulness is noted, human," Lane said grudgingly, "but the Council's decision is final." "Then I guess we're in an impasse," Morgan replied, "because I'm not leaving, and apparently neither are you. So how about this, you and me, one-on-one? You win, I'd leave peacefully. I win, you take your fancy squad and file a report saying this place wasn't worth the trouble." Lane's antennae twitched with surprise. "You're challenging me to personal combat?" "I prefer to call it problem-solving. Efficient, minimal casualties." The command center fell silent as Lane considered. It was unorthodox, not without precedent. Single combat to resolve disputes had deep roots in council tradition. "Terms?" Lane finally asked. "Unarmed, in the neutral ground of the facility's landing bay. Your squad stays outside scanner range. My systems stay on automatic, but won't target you specifically." Lane turned to his officers, who were all watching with various expressions of disbelief. "Analysis?" The tactical officer spoke first. is potentially viable, sir. We've lost the element of surprise, and a frontal assault would cost lives. The intelligence officer added, Human Morgan is an engineer, not a soldier. Physical combat should heavily favor you. Lane made his decision. Very well, human. I accept your terms. 1 hour to prepare. Perfect, Morgan replied, and Lane didn't like the confidence in the human's voice. See you soon, Commander. Oh, and just to be sporting, I should mention I spent 10 years in the Human Union Marines before becoming an engineer. Challenge accepted. The communication cut out, leaving an uncomfortable silence in the command center. Lieutenant Voss voiced what everyone was thinking. Sir, did we just get manipulated? Lane stared at the tactical display showing the mining facility. The human had transformed a simple industrial outpost into an impenetrable fortress, outmaneuvered an elite military unit, and now had successfully baited the commander into single combat. Perhaps, Lane admitted. But remember, Lieutenant, we are still the 87th, and this human, regardless of prior service, is still just one individual. 1 hour later, Lane entered the landing bay as agreed. The massive doors slowly closed behind him, sealing him in with his human opponent. Morgan stood in the center of the bay, wearing simple mining coveralls, no visible weapons. The human appeared physically unimpressive by Council military standards, smaller than Lane, with less obvious muscle mass and no natural armor. Commander, Morgan nodded in greeting. Appreciate you coming alone. Lane moved forward cautiously. Your confidence borders on arrogance, human. Morgan smiled. Maybe, or maybe I just understand something you don't. And what would that be? That your species evolved as hive soldiers, emphasized strength and obedience. Mine evolved as persistence hunters and problem solvers. You follow protocols, I improvise. Without warning, Morgan tapped a small device on his wrist. Instantly, the landing bay's gravity shifted, reducing to approximately 1/3 normal levels. Lane stumbled, his movements suddenly awkward as his weight changed dramatically. The human, however, pushed off the floor with practiced ease, launching into a controlled spin that brought a boot directly into Lane's thorax. Facility's artificial gravity, Morgan explained, rebounding off a wall. Mining engineers adjust it regularly for different extraction processes. I've had 3 months to practice fighting in it. Another kick caught Lane from behind. The commander tried to compensate, to use his natural strength, but each movement sent him tumbling in unintended directions. That's cheating, Lane managed to say as he struggled to orient himself. Morgan laughed, executing another perfect midair maneuver. No, that's strategy. Choosing the battlefield is lesson 1 in any fight. What followed was the most humiliating 15 minutes of Lane's military career. The human danced through the altered gravity environment like it was natural, while Lane could barely maintain his orientation. Every time he adapted to one gravity setting, Morgan would adjust it again, sometimes heavier, sometimes lighter, never allowing Lane to find his balance. When it was over, Lane hung suspended in the air, held by a cargo net the human had somehow deployed from the ceiling. Morgan stood below, gravity now returned to normal, looking up at his trapped opponent. So, the human said, about that report you'll be filing. 3 days later, the 87th Tactical Unit departed the moon. Their official reports cited excessive resources required for minimal strategic gain as the reason for abandoning the operation. It made no mention of their commander's defeat, nor of the human who had engineered it. As their ship broke orbit, Lieutenant Voss found Lane staring at the view screen showing the receding moon. The Council won't be pleased, sir. Lane continued watching the moon grow smaller. No, they won't. But they'll eventually forget about one insignificant mining operation. And what about us, sir? What did we learn from this? Lane finally turned away from the view screen. That we should choose our battles more carefully, Lieutenant, and that sometimes the most dangerous opponent isn't the one with the most weapons or the largest army. Sir, it's the one who says, challenge accepted, when they should be saying, I surrender.